you. All right. You are looking live at sold out MetLife Stadium where today the 16-0 and playoff bound New York Giants are taking on the 0-16 Washington Commanders. Why the Washington Commanders 0-16? Because they suck. Welcome to the Gridiron. Anybody out there at all that's going to spend a little bit of time with me here this evening, I greatly appreciate it. Thank you. If anybody's going to spend any time watching the replay this once again, thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. I greatly appreciate it. Thank you. Going to try to go about 30 minutes here tonight, shoot my mouth off for about 30 minutes. Anybody got anything to say, please feel free. Fire away, throw it in the chat box. I usually try to check on the chat box like every 5 or 10 minutes or so. So as soon as I see something in there, I try to respond to it as fast as I can. So please feel free, fire away. And plus, instead of me just like rambling on, for like 30 minutes or 40, whatever it is, it's good to talk to another Giant fan. So please feel free, fire away. Before we get started, if anybody wants to help support my channel out, in the description box below, there's a top link. It takes you to my membership page. I got 3 different membership levels. The first one's called the Saquon. Second membership level is called the Lawrence Taylor. And the third one is called the Gridiron. Each one's got their own little perks to them. So, if you want to help support my channel out, once again, it would mean so much to me. I greatly appreciate it. If you are subscribed to my channel, thank you. Thank you. I could use all the support I can get. If you're not, please go down below, hit the subscribe button, hit the bell icon. That way next time I go live, I put a video out, you'll be notified. And it's free of charge, right? What do you got to lose, right? But if you are subscribed to my channel, thank you. And then finally, in the description box below, there's 2 Facebook links. The first one takes you to my Facebook group. It's called the New York Giants of Gridiron. It's a group. Basically, I say this in every video. My YouTube channel pretty much is like the Facebook group and the Facebook page, which I'll go over in a minute. It's all called the same thing, the New York Giants of Gridiron. That way, a moron like me, okay, I can remember. It's not like, what's my channel called? Is the page called the same thing? It's all called like the same thing. So it makes it nice and easy for me. Okay, what do we have? We have 3,300 members, okay, in the group. Okay, it's 7 days a week, right? Almost not quite 365, but I was like 7 days a week. Usually, as soon as I'm done going live here, I'll spend at least probably 2 hours, if not longer, putting stuff in the group and in the page. Okay, I try to get up to 10 things or so a day, if I can. In the off season, it's a little difficult sometimes coming up with a ton of fresh stuff or whatever. But I mean, whether it's a video, something showing some stats, a picture, a post, something making fun of the Eagles or the Cowboys, that's my personal favorite. Okay. I try to get stuff in here, but not only do I put stuff in here, but members post stuff in here as well, too. Okay. So if you go there and become a member of the group, there's a ton of Giants information every day. Then also the second Facebook link, okay, takes you to my Facebook page. Okay. But it's a page, or I'm the administrator, so I'm the only one to post in here. Okay. But we just reached 5,000 followers. We had 4,900 for the past few days or so. So we're up to 5,000. This one's really doing good. It's still rocking and rolling, even in the off season here. We have over 1,300 likes, okay, on the page. But we just reached 5,000 followers. Absolutely freaking fantastic. I love it. And I don't commingle for the most part. Nice, meaning like whatever I put in the page, I don't put in the group. Whatever I put in the group, I don't put in the page for the most part. Every now and then there's something really juicy, really making fun of the Eagles or something. I just got to share it with everybody. That's what I get up for in the morning. That's what I live and breathe for, to make fun of the Philadelphia Eagles. Okay, that's my life. I love it. Okay, so if you go to the, go to the page and you like and you follow it, and you go to the group and you become a member, you get a ton, okay, of stuff every day. Information every day. But it also, if you go there, all right, and if you become you like and you follow the page and you go to the group and you become a member, okay, between the two, as I said, you get a ton. But if you're not completely satisfied, like I say all the time, you get your money back guaranteed. All right. Now with all that stuff said and done, all that stuff out of the way, the Giants bolstering, which is nice, good to see. Ryan Cowden, okay, to their front office, okay. I just seen this, okay. It just came out, just like, well, a couple hours ago, I guess. So, which is cool. Not quite sure what as of right now. It just came out. This is the weekend. They haven't announced. They are set, as far as I know, to bring him in, okay. But they haven't announced what his job might wind up being, okay. But there's once again this familiarity with Shane and him, okay. Cowden came from the Titans. He also apparently he interviewed or it was one of the interviews. I'm going to go over his article here, but apparently maybe for this for the job that Shane wound up getting. But so Ryan Cowden, he's been pretty much in the league. He was a scouting assistant with the Carolina Panthers in 2000. So he's been in the league, okay, since 2000. So he's a lot on the like the scouting, right, kind of side, okay. So, but see, Shane, okay, was with the Panthers from 2001 to 2007, okay. So 2001, Shane was a scouting assistant, okay. Cowden was a scouting assistant in 2000. Then in 2001, he became an area scout. Okay, he was an area scout from 2001 to 2007. Cowden. Okay, from 2002. Okay, so basically from 2002 to 2007. All right, Shane was an area scout. Okay, so that's for the Panthers. Okay, so from 2002 to 2007, they were both area scouts. But they both worked for the Panthers from 2001 to 2007. So they had familiarity there for 7 years. Okay. Cowden then he became a national scout from 2008 to 2012. Then he was a national it's just funny. Yeah. I mean, I don't know if they just make up titles or what it is, but then he was a National Scout, Senior College Scout, okay, from 2012 to 2014 for the Panthers. Then he was Assistant Director of College Scouting from 2014 to 2015. Then he was with the Titans from 2016, and they just apparently it was, I think in the article I'm going to go over, they kind of like took his name off the website and all of that. So apparently he was going to be, gone. They took his name off the website within the past month or so. I guess somewhere like in May, they took his name off the Tennessee Titan website. But he's been with the Titans since 2016. He was the director of player personnel from 2016 to 2017. Then he was the vice president of player personnel from 2018 to present. Then he was the interim general manager. They let, I think in the article, they let their general manager go. I think it was in December. I think it was. So, I mean, he's been interim basically, I guess, for a few months, general manager. Okay. So that's Shane. So there's a lot of familiarity there. So, but let's see here. It says they're set to hire him, Ryan Cowden, as executive advisor to the general manager. I mean, basically, they can make up any title they want. It doesn't matter. They can be executive janitor to the executive advisor to the general manager. I mean, they can make anything they want. It doesn't matter. Just sign here. Here's what you're going to make. This is what you know what I mean. So, but it says the Giants are expected to hire Ryan Cowden for a role in the Giants front office. Ryan Dunleavy of the New York Post reports. Okay. A source tells PFT that Cowden's title will be, now this is not official, okay, it says executive advisor to the general manager. Okay, and it says, I just went over, it says Cowden, okay, began his career in the NFL in 2000 with the Panthers, and Giants general manager Joe Schoen started his career with the Panthers a year later in 2001. Right, Cowden interviewed for the Giants general manager job that went to Schoen in 2022, so he did interview. Okay. Cowden served as the Titans' interim general manager after John Robinson was fired in December. So you figure, he was the interim for 4 or 5 months or so, right? But he was, I guess, part of. I guess I'm not exactly. I don't know if he was still with them during the draft. Not sure. That I don't know. Okay. Cowden left the Panthers in 2016 to join the Titans as director of player personnel. He earned a promotion to vice president of player personnel in 2018. Titans. Now this is cool. I mean, you got to appreciate this. Okay. The Titans hiring of Ran Carthon as the new general manager signaled Cowden's time with the team was coming to a close. He leaves after 7 seasons in Tennessee. Apparently, Cowden had 6 teams interested in him, per source. Cowden also has previously interviewed for the general manager jobs with the Chiefs, the Panthers, the Commanders, and the Steelers, as well as the Giants in 2022 and the Titans this past season. Okay, he likely will be a hot commodity in the 2024 hiring circle. So, I mean, what this article is indicating is maybe this is be his 1 year with the Giants. I'll have to want to wait and see, but brings a lot of experience with him, a lot of knowledge and all that and everything. So I'll have to want to wait and see, that if he winds up staying around with the Giants, for any length of time or not, is he just kind of like coming here just to help out and he'll find something down the road. Usually guys, a lot of times, a lot of guys come and go, so it is what it is. But it's nice to see that they're at least bolstering their front office and somebody with a lot of, darn near almost 25 years of experience, with scouting, which is good, right? Because if you can hit with your draft picks, and it's so important to hit with those draft picks because especially those guys. The 4th, the 5th, 6th rounders, guys that can give you meaningful snaps, hopefully they can stay healthy, give you meaningful snaps, but also like special teams and everything. But you got to have those guys because, which I'm going to go over here in a second, you got some guys on your team making $32 million a year, right? And you can't pay everybody. Could you imagine? I'm just. Okay, yeah. All right, there you go. Okay, all right. I just want to calculate this first. All right. So if you paid everybody $30 million a year, I'm just going to say you got 50 guys on your roster. Okay, and you paid every guy $30 million. That's 1.5 billion with a B dollars. That's what your salary cap would have to be. 1.5 billion with a B dollars. Okay, so it just goes to show you the importance of having those low. You know what I mean? You got to have those guys. It's you got to have a mixture, right? You can't just have a bunch of obviously 4th round picks on your team and plan on going to the Super Bowl and everybody's making $1 million. Obviously you can't have that, but you can't have obviously you can't be paying everybody $30 million either. So that's why you got Leonard Williams, you got Dexter Lawrence, but then you got to have the guys behind them, right? So, but that's if he can help us for a year, that would be huge. Because if he can help, look, if he can work his magic and help us get one extra guy in the draft or something, that would be huge. What's up, Terrence? Reported respect to Joe for bringing in a lot of young, sharp minds. Oh yeah. Oh, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. But it's going to have to be because once, and especially if we start doing good, they're going to be looking at what's going on in the Giant front office there. Who's because basically all it is whatever the Giants people in the front office are, there's always room for the most part advancement. So, I mean, if somebody's down here and the Minnesota Vikings come looking and they see somebody here and they're like, well, we got an opening, we can give him a job. He's assistant here, but we can make him, get his job level up over here if we bring him to Minnesota. So we'll give him a, bump in pay. We'll give him a lot of times, sometimes if they're going from basically the same job, I guess for the most part, I mean, unless the Giants want to be a total jackass about it, they could like veto it, I guess, if it's a side move, if he's going from assistant player personnel to assistant player personnel or whatever. But I mean, if it's an advancement, usually you pretty much just let the guys go or whatever, I mean, unless they're that valuable to you, then you just make up something and just try to keep them there. But I mean, that's the way it is. I mean, some guys wind up hanging in the same organization for long periods of time, but a lot of them just wind up moving on. But it's like the players. It's like pretty much like a But speaking of salary cap, I mean, I seen it. I didn't go around through the whole league and check every team out and all that. But I saw this and it was apparently it says like Leonard. I know Leonard Williams was his salary this year was $32 million, but apparently Giants Leonard Williams as the NFL's third largest cap, third. And I'm like, is that including quarterbacks? Apparently it is. Says shortly after the 2022 season had concluded, the Giants defensive lineman Leonard Williams said he would be open to taking a pay cut, which I don't know if he was just, I don't know. He was just saying that, I don't know. But however, today Williams has not been asked to take a pay cut, and there has been no known extension negotiations. I don't know because it maybe because with his neck and everything, I don't know because. I mean, hey, if after the season's over with, if he becomes a free agent, if he wants to stay here with Leonard Williams, if we're building something, right? He's been with the Jets and he's been with the Giants. He's around in this area. If he likes the organization and all that stuff, the Giants will have a shot at obviously bringing him back in. Now, I don't know if they want to play the season out, what I mean? And see, is he really healthy? Now, I mean, it's like, well, we got Leonard Williams. He's on it. Let's extend him out. You give him an extra couple of years, right? So just say 2 years on. Okay, so that we'll take his cap hit this year. It won't be 32. We'll get it down to 20. Just throwing a number out there, right? So we'll save some money on the cap this year. That's cool. We'll extend him a couple of years. Okay, so but we're going to get rid of this $32 million. We got to. We'll keep Leonard Williams for another couple of years and all that. Everything's great. But maybe they want to try to see if his neck is totally healthy and all of that. Because I just remember reading last year that it didn't matter if he had a week off. That didn't matter last year. It didn't matter if you gave him 15, 20. But apparently from what I was just reading, okay, was that he was going to heal. It was going to be in the off season. He was going to need months to fix whatever was wrong with him. Okay. Now obviously I'm just reading in the reports. It's his neck. It didn't say the third clavicle or the third vertebrae, the fourth and the fifth vertebrae, or I don't know exactly what it was, but apparently what I was reading is that it was going to take months, for it to heal, and kind of hopefully by the following season, he would be good to go. But there's no guarantee on that. So maybe they kind of want to see if if he's fully healed. Before, maybe they'll give him the season to see if he can stay healthy. If the neck gets re-aggravated again and, it's going to be a long-term problem. So maybe they don't want to be, try to add any years to him. So maybe they're going to see if he can make it through the season. And then maybe, maybe, we'll have to wait and see. But, it's a nice dynamic duo there. But, I mean, if you look at it, if you got Leonard Williams making – but even if we takes a pay cut, goes down to $20 million. You got Sexy Dexy making over. That's like $40-something million for But it's tough. You could have that, but then you got to lose other guys someplace else. And that's obviously that's the way the NFL is designed to have parity. Yeah, every team can have a few big good guys, sure, but then for every $30 million guy, you're gonna have to have $2 or $3 million guys just to balance them out. So that's just the way it is. But they'll have to wait and see. Because he's not like 30-something years old. But if they do offer him something, they can't offer him anywhere near 30-something million dollars. That's just stone cold crazy. So, but we'll have to wait and see. But he's behind Patrick Mahomes, whose cap hit this year looks like it's 39.7 million. So who did this? Giants Wire. So apparently, I guess I don't know. I don't have a name here. I'm sorry, whoever wrote this article. It's a good article. But and Ryan Tannehill, 36.6 million. Then Jared Goff is 31 million. DeAndre Hopkins, 30.8 million. TJ Watt, 29.4. Myles Garrett, 29.2. Jake Matthews, 28.4. And Chris Jones, $28.3 million cap hit. But Leonard Williams, 32.3. So, obviously next year, if he's with the Giants or another team, it ain't going to be nowhere near 32.3 million. The other thing, too, okay, is that he's got, because they I think restructured or redid his contract or something like that. So he has $6 million toward the cap for next season. So, if somehow we wind up re-signing him, maybe we can add that $6 million in somehow, maybe. And then, and kind of absorb it so it's not dead money. But if he does wind up going someplace, we owe him, I think, almost $6 million next season. But it's 6 is bad enough, but at least it's not 16 or 20 or something like that. So, but if he is a free agent after this season, we don't wind up bringing him back. We owe him $6 million next season, and then after that, wipe our hands with we're kind of hopefully this year wiping our hands with Kenny Golladay. Next year, if we don't have that, next year is the $6 million dead cap hit with Leonard Williams. We can wipe our hands of that, But that's one of the things as far as kicking the can down the road. The Eagles do that, but I don't think Joe Shane wants to do it. But it also brings you up to like Adoree Jackson. Well, how come we're not doing nothing with Adoree Jackson either? That could be the same thing too. Where we at there. So Adoree's 19 million. All right. Now we could apparently it looks like theoretically let Adoree Jackson go. That would be kind of absolutely kind of crazy. But he would have about a $10.5 million dead cap hit. So we could save almost about $8.5 million if we would set Adoree Jackson go. But once again, that would be stone cold crazy. Because now at least we have 2 good corners. But it doesn't seem like, they're going to be bringing Adoree back. So I don't know if we're going to let, the season play out. We know we have Deonte Banks. See if anybody like Aaron Robinson stay healthy for a season, and see where we're at with the cornerbacks and all that. So we might have to go, so maybe Deonte might slide over to the number 1, and then maybe in the draft, maybe in the second round, maybe in free agency, right? Go out and get another cornerback. Right, so because you want to have your 2, so maybe Adoree Jackson doesn't seem like he's in the plans either. But I have to wind up waiting and see because same thing with Adoree. He's not old either, right? So, but we'll have to wait and see. But I found it shocking. I'm like, I seen he's the 3rd highest cap hit, and I'm like, what? There aren't any quarterbacks. They're just 2, Patrick Mahomes and Ryan Tannehill. Holy cow, that have bigger cap hits than Leonard Williams. Wow, but just because there doesn't. The season hasn't started. We still have time to go. So it's nothing's written in stone. But just because they're not seeming to maybe do anything about it, kind of maybe kind of signaling the end of Leonard Williams' time here, or it could be they just want to see if he can stay healthy. So that's one of the others. And then I seen this article here. It's kind of talking about these. He's got some 4 vets. Okay. Who could lose their jobs to rookies in 2023. Now, one of them was the Hassenauer. Now, this article, who is it? Yahoo Sports says 4 Giant players who could lose their jobs to rookies in 2023. And right here it says the New York Giants are a young team and are just getting younger. And that's, you got to love that, man. We're building something here, and we're young. Gotta love it. Gotta love it. They do have some veterans that they will still rely on to get the job done, but it's only a matter of time before those vets are moved out in favor of some younger players. Now the thing is here. Now, well, I'm going to go to Breida here first. Where the heck's Breida? Matt Breida. Okay. It says, assuming a Saquon Barkley situation gets resolved this summer, the Giants will have a fairly deep backfield. Breida comes back at number 2 behind Barkley, but will be challenged by rookie Eric Gray. But the thing is now also, I mean, you got Breida, but then you got Brightwell, right? So we were assuming that he's gone, right? And then we're going to have Gray, Breida, and Barkley. Interesting to see. Also interesting to see, because you got to also look at too, what's going to go on with Saquon. I mean, if Saquon starts, declining all these offers and he just winds up working on the franchise tag, right? I mean, the Giants going to maybe, I hate to say it, but, I don't want to move on from him, but it says Breida is a valuable cog in the Giants offense, as he can do a little bit of everything. And he did a very decent job last year. Absolutely. Very. But if Gray can provide that too, the Giants might jump him up the depth chart this year, which is quite a good possibility. I mean, because apparently what you saw or hear from Gray, he can block, willing blocker, decent pass. I think he had 33 receptions last year. He had a very good running, he's not Saquon, but he's got the quads, right? He's low to the ground. It looks like he can be a very good backup. And the nice thing is that, people like looking like, oh yeah, he only had the one good year, his junior year. I think he was past what I was hearing. He possibly had a chance of maybe starting. I can't remember the other guy's name, but they gave the job to another starting running back at Oklahoma. Okay, so I mean, it's like it's kind of if it was really, really, really good, he would have been the starter his junior year and his senior year. But you'll also look at it too. It's okay. The other guy got the job when he was a junior year, but that's also more tread still left on the tire for Eric Gray. I mean, one thing is when they come out of college and they've been like say 4 years, and they look at him, man. His freshman year, he had 318 carries. You look at it, 1,600 yards. His sophomore year, 296 carries. His junior year, 312 carries. Look at last year, 345. Yeah, that's great, but that's like almost, that's a lot of carries. You only, with most guys. Maybe not everybody. Maybe not everybody's an Emmitt Smith, okay? Some of these guys can, some, very few can carry the ball, a ton and maybe keep coming back. Most, okay, the more carries, your shelf life starts going down really fast. So maybe it was a blessing in disguise that Gray didn't get all those carries, especially his junior season. But he got a decent amount last year. But it seems like, if we can get Saquon for at least another 3 or 4 years, and we got Gray, and we can, and that's the nice thing about running backs. You can find a good quality running back, in this past draft, okay, 4 or 5 rounds deep. It might be the same thing next year. We'll have to wait and see. But I mean, if they got Barkley as number 1, if they got Gray as number 2, and they're like, and if Deshaun Corbin doesn't, I don't know. We'll have to see. I want to see the guy, right? But if he can't get off the practice squad, right? If we don't bring Breida back and Brightwell, let him go, right? Hey, man, if you can pick up a running back next year in the 6th round or something like that, I mean, then if you have Barkley, you have Gray, and you have somebody else in the 6th, you know what I mean? That's fine. I mean, you don't want your 3rd string running back to be, you don't want to take him in the 2nd, right? You know what I mean? So, we could be good. We could be good, especially at running back for a few years. So, but I mean, Breida, he could. I can't say loses. They said lose his job. They say in this article, the vets could lose their job. Maybe he's not a starter. Maybe he might slide to number 3. We'll have to wait and see. But, got the OTA starting tomorrow. Okay. I don't think the reporters can be there or anything. I think that they're there on Thursday, I think. So we're not going to get too much information. But starting tomorrow, OTAs. So organized team activities starting for the Giants tomorrow. So then there was 3 other guys they had here. One of them was Darius Slayton. Now that's, they brought him in, they brought him back 2 years, $12 million, I think it was. But then, man, you start in, you just start looking at, how many of these guys can we get on the field at the same time? We got Crowder. We'll have to wait and see with him. Jeff Smith, I don't think he's going to be on. I mean, unless everybody gets decimated by injuries. I think if he's on the team, we're looking at special teams for him. But, I mean, I said, Wando Robinson's coming back. Maybe Sterling Shepard can come back, right? But I said, and we got Hodgins, right? Then you got Slayton. You got Paris Campbell, right? We got some guy named Hyatt we just brought, then Bryce Wheaton, so it can be interesting to see because, if Slayton's usually on the outside, right? If we have a slot, Hodgins, he looked like he's a diamond in the rough there, right? Looks like he's somebody you want on the field. And if Hyatt starts taking off, it's going to be interesting to see. But, if anybody can get demoted and take it like a man, I think Slayton's a guy because, he was like number 6 or 7 last year at the beginning of the season. Right. So, he took everything like a professional, but we brought him back for 2 years. But, we don't still have a number 1. We don't have a straight out stud. Okay. But we got a lot of guys, so it's going to be interesting. Watch and keep an eye on that, the wide receivers. That's going to be, I'm really anxious to see how Campbell does. Really anxious to see how he does because he's young too, fast and young, man. Freaking. The Giants got a good track team going here. I'll tell you what, man. Got a good track team. So Darius Slayton, we're going to have to keep an eye on him. Yeah, because it says the Giants have hopefully we'll have a healthy Wando Robinson, Sterling Shepard on roster. So Slayton will have a lot of competition this summer. And let's not forget about Bryce Ford Wheaton, who can end up being a good find. They said we got Jalen Hyatt, we got Hodgins, right? Of course, Darren Waller is going to take a lot of, some snaps. But let's also not forget we can put Waller out wide too, right? If possible, if need be. We got Bellinger. Now the other one, somebody could possibly lose their job. Aaron Robinson. Yeah, his problem is staying healthy. His drafting of cornerback Deonte Banks has reset the Giants secondary. Adoree Jackson is set at one corner. Yep, you set him and forget him. Don't have the guy return punts this year, so hopefully he'll stay healthy. You're not going to get 13 interceptions from him this year, but he does a decent job. Decent job, okay? But then you bring Deonte Banks in. So basically you're putting him at the other cornerback. So I have to keep an eye out on Robinson. Said it's not since we got Banks, it says that's not good news for Robinson. An often injured former 3rd-round pick, the Giants basically just drafted over with Banks. He will be in the mix for a backup role and could even find himself on the roster bubble if he cannot reestablish himself in training. And it's the same thing. It's like your best ability is your availability, and it doesn't matter what talent or what you got going for you. If you can't stay healthy, it always kind of just boggles my mind sometimes. I forgot what his health history was or whatever in college. I didn't look it up or anything like that. But it's just some of these guys, like, how do they make it through college and they can't even get out of training camp without, I know he had a core muscle surgery, I think it was, after he got out of college, and that set him back a few months, But it's just some of these guys just can't stay healthy, just cannot stay healthy. And then in this article, they also they talk about, I don't know, it's weird. J.C. Hassenauer. Said veteran J.C. Hassenauer. I guess they're thinking about he might lose his job. They just brought him in as he was going to be the starting center, I guess. Says veteran J.C. Hassenauer was signed this offseason, and although he is never a shoo-in to start for the team, no, the Giants lacked a true center. Yes, he was set to compete with Ben Bredesen for the job and likely would have won it out of training camp. No, it says none of that matters now. However, the Giants selected John Michael Schmitz in the second round of the 2023 draft. Oh, yeah. And it would be a legitimate shock if he's not starting on day one. I would be rather shocked if he's not starting on day one. He was arguably the most complete center in the draft and has all the makings of being a long-term anchor in the middle of the line. Yep. Hassenauer will still be given an opportunity to compete, but is likely to end up as a reserve or even on the roster bubble. So it's kind of funny because, I mean, yeah, it's always funny. They bring these guys in and it's like, yeah, we don't need you now. Well, but that's the one thing I always kind of, I think because like between with the pro days and the combine and all of this and everything, it always was like, to me, it makes sense. Let's get the draft. You draft your guys, the best players available. Okay, you throw them on your roster, and then you step back and you look at your board and you go, okay, we got free agency coming up. The draft is first, then we have free agency. Okay, so let's see. What do we need as far as free agents? Where do we need depth at? It just, what? So then you're bringing these free agents in, okay, and and then you start drafting guys. And okay, so you drafted the best center. Okay, well, you just brought a center in. Why did you bring a center in? I mean, well, of course, you don't know you're going to be drafting a center, but it always made sense. It would make sense to me. You take the best player in the draft, and then you fill in your roster with free agents. It just seemed like that was always just bass-ackward to me. You know what I mean? It just, I think that because they between like the college season getting over, guys training for the combine, and then there's their pro days and all that and everything. You want the teams to have more and more time to be able to gather their information, all these draft picks and everything like that and everything. So, but I mean, it just seems like that should be backwards. Like you should have the draft first. You take the guys and then you fill and it's like, okay, where do we got to go in free agency? Because sometimes you bring these guys in free agents and then you draft over them. It's like, yeah, sorry. Well, we needed you 2 months ago, but now in the draft, we just picked up somebody that's going to replace you. So we'll see you later. But doesn't Williams' brother play in the NFL? Leota Lyon? Let's see. Are you talking about let's see here. Sometimes. No. Nope. Let's see here. Football. Let's try this here. Football. Leonard Williams, American. Let's see here. I don't see anything. I mean, it's always a possibility. I don't see. See this helping mainland. I don't see anything. I mean, that certainly does not mean that he doesn't. His brother's not. Let's see. I still don't see nothing here. Yep. Yeah, no, I don't see anything. But it certainly doesn't mean, that he doesn't have a brother. That there's so much movement and all and everything in the that I have a hard time following. Oh, the DB. Oh, the defensive back. Oh. That I don't know. That's a good possibility. Okay, so all right, so whoops. So we're talking about Rodarius. I guess we're talking about, and also now the thing is with him. I mean, I think he had a good game against the Cowboys, but then the last few weeks of the season, he was like a healthy scratch. So I mean, I don't know if that was like some writing on the wall there or exactly what. I mean, if you're healthy and you're a scratch and you're a defensive back, I mean, let's see. What do you got here? Okay. I don't know. I mean, that's a possibility. Let me see this here. Oh, there. Oh. Yep. Greedy. Yeah. Yep. I'm glad you brought that up. Yes. Now that rings a bell. Actually, I did hear that one time. Yeah, Greedy Williams. Yep. So he was 2019. Yeah. So he was in 2019. And 2021. Okay. So Greedy, okay, is 2 years older. Yeah. Yeah. So Greedy's was drafted in 2019. Rodarius is 2021. Yep. Yeah. Oh, wait. Let me see here. Darn. Okay. Rodarius was what? Round 5 or 6? 6. Okay. He was round 6, but Greedy was, let's say, Greedy was 2. Yeah. He was round 2. Yeah. So I guess I don't know. Yeah. But Greedy was round 2. Yeah. But I mean, that's one of the things like Rodarius Williams. I mean, you don't know if something happened there, because I just remember like last year, looking at the active roster and you seen the scratches, for the week, and he's like, oh, okay, Rodarius Williams, and the next following week, Rodarius Williams, and then it's like 3 or 4 weeks, I think it was. At the end, he was just like a healthy scratch. So I don't know exactly what happened there, but I mean, I don't know if the writing's on the wall for him too or whatever, but we'll have to wait and see. But I mean, that's another one of the things too, is you have, Aaron Robinson, Darnay Holmes. If we let him go, we'll save, almost $2 million if we were to let him go. But I'm saying Darius Williams, Darnay Holmes, Aaron Robinson, those guys, they came with the team. They weren't drafted with Shane and Dable. So they may not be, Shane or Dable guys. So, I mean, their time might be limited. So, I mean, the hard thing about, when you got the McAdoo was here 26. I mean, when you have the 2 to 2 to 2, because basically, if you go back, hold on, right? 14, 15. So if you go back to 2014, okay. Okay, 2014, we've had 5 coaches for 2 years. 2014 and 2015, right? If I did my math right, it's Coughlin. 2016 and 2017 was McAdoo, and Spagnuolo was the last 3 games or so of the 17 season. But 18 and 19 was Shermer. 2021, right, was Judge. 22 and 23 has been Dave. Once we get into 23, it's Dable. So basically, if you go back to 2014, you go from 2014 to 2023, we've had 5 coaches been here for 2 years each. And that's the one problem with that, because then they bring their guys in, they have a couple drafts, so they bring in 10, 15 guys, whatever, in the draft class, and those are their guys. And then the new coach comes in and it's like, yeah, they're not my guys. You know what I mean? So then they might disappear. And then the coach is 2 years later, he disappears. And then Shermer comes in, he looks at McAdoo's picks, and he's like, yeah, there's McAdoo / Reese's picks, whatever, Yeah, they're not my guys. So they let them go. And then Judge comes in, he looks at Shermer's picks, and he's like, yeah, they're not my guys, and he lets them go. And now you got Shane and Dable coming in. They're trying to redo the whole organization, obviously stay young, get young, but bring in like captains and stuff like that. And they're looking at some of the guys that Gettleman brought in. They're like, yeah, they know. I mean, Sexy Dexy, home run there. Daniel Jones, hopefully a home run there. Hopefully we keep Saquon. We got, we're going to hopefully start building around that, but I mean, a lot of some of Gettleman's picks, they're looking at, they're like, yeah, we don't want them on our team. That's the problem. I mean, missing on draft picks, getting coaches in, 2 years for this coach, 2 years for that coach, 2 years for, it's like, that sets your team back like, years, especially missing on draft picks. I mean, because if you look, you start thinking, right? We shouldn't have had to draft Evan Neal. Why? Because we should have had Eric Flowers, right? And Andrew Thomas, right? If we drafted a tackle in the 2015 draft, the tackle should still be here, right? We'd have Andrew Thomas and another tackle. We got it. So who I forgot. I'm that stupid. Who was still on the board at 7 last year, but we shouldn't have been taking Evan Neal. We shouldn't be needing to draft Deonte Banks. Why? Well, Eli Apple, right? And DeAndre Baker, right? We should have those 2 cornerbacks. So we shouldn't be drafting it. We shouldn't have to move up to 24 to take a cornerback, right? So, that's the thing is missing on coaches and missing on draft picks. It just, it sets you back. Oh, you know what I mean? At least we are now starting to get players signed to say, which is huge. Oh my God. Because it was just like these 3rd round picks. We get like 30, we get bringing 3rd round picks and they'd be here for 4 years and we just let them all go. It's like, well, how come we're not signing any 3rd, 4th round picks the second count? What's going on? Yeah. It's just, that's just stuff like that just sets you back years. You think, all right, we missed on a draft. Well, okay. You're screwing yourself over. Oh, well, Terrence, I got to go. My dog is I think my dog wants to go outside. I got to let him out. I think he wants to go to the bathroom. But it's good talking to you, buddy. I'll be back again tomorrow night. And we'll talk some more Giant football. Hopefully I'll get a little bit of information on the OTAs. We can talk about that. Keep this stuff rolling, baby. I love it. Right. So anybody spent any time watching me at all? I greatly appreciate it. Thank you. If anybody spent any time watching and replay this, once again, thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. It means the world to me. Thank you. And as always, Terrence, good talking to you, buddy. Hope I'll talk to you again tomorrow. All right. And as always, guys, you guys stay safe out there and go Giants. Woo! I got to let my dog out. Oh, yeah.